Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Digital to Dice podcast. I am Dave.
I'm Ron.
And Ron, what do we get today for an episode?
It's episode 238, and our long discussion on the rules of the International Telecommunications Union continues by saying that it is not an area code for 238. It is another country code. I guess you can't be the same.
Really?
Yeah, just because the last two times that we've done it, if it's a country code, in this case, it's Cape Verde Islands.
Oh, wow.
Which is off the coast of Africa, which is be pretty nice this time of year.
Have you ever felt the rains down in Africa?
Yeah, I have.
Isn't that an awesome song? It really is.
It is an awesome song.
It is. There's so many versions of that song, and I watch them all and listen to them all, and I love them all.
They didn't want to record it, from my understanding. They had to be talked into doing it, and it ended up being their biggest hit.
Yeah.
So, yes. So, out of process of elimination is if it already exists as a country code, we can't use it as an area code.
Okay. Then.
So that's that for that.
That's
so
238.
And I didn't look up to see what year 238 was a batting average for anybody or anything like that. So
all right, that's fine. So anyway, hey, ways to get a hold of us. Digitaltodice.com is the website, and we want to let you know that we're having some problems with that website. We're over on Wix, and we got that forwarding over to the Wix there, and it wasn't coming up. And it was coming up the last time I checked, so I've been on the phone with tech support trying to figure out why it's not forwarding over there. But when it's up and running, it will be digitaltodice.com. That's we can find out who was on the show and check out the episodes when they come up in the whole bit. If you'd like to go there, 978-751-DICE is the text line. digitaltodice@yahoo.com is the email. And over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digitaltodice. And if you'd like to support the show on Patreon, patreon.com/digitaltodice. We'd like to thank everybody who's been supporting us and keeping us going for all these years. Some big news broke over here on the streaming that we do with StreamYard. Yes. That's what we use here to record the show, StreamYard, and that's what we do our chats with. And you see, ID and Al Red Sox fan, and a lot of people using the StreamYard service here in this community. They've been bought a couple of times now. If I have
someone on, I'll use the free version of StreamYard to do whatever. I did it with Mike in the truck for this family football thing. It's handy to have.
Yep. But
it's been bought a couple of times.
Yeah, it's been bought out a couple of times, and the original guys are still hanging around for the longest time. But I think this last buyout, they took the buyout and left. Well, they decided to raise their rates, and they didn't raise their rates. They went up 125%. So I've been scrambling, trying. You might have seen me on YouTube doing some things and some trials to find a new service because there's no way I'm paying.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm paying that.
You shouldn't have to have that.
It sounds like they want to go more corporate. It sounds like they want to go towards the CNNs and the Fox Newses and stuff like that. People on YouTube that have that kind of capital, and other people like me and like our community. We'll see you later. So,
but that's where there's Zoom for the corporations and other things that they get used. I'm not sure how StreamYard's going to break into something that's been. I mean, Cisco has something that I see pop up in cable news interviews, and those companies have contracts with them too. I don't know where StreamYard.
I'm not sure. I just my gut feeling is that they want to go where the money is, and the money is not with the $20 or $30 a month people. It's with the $80 to $200 a month people. That's just where I see this going. But they're going to lose out a lot of people there. I've already found a couple services that are pretty close. One is pretty close in price to what I'm paying now. One's a little bit more, one's a little bit less. So I've been kicking them around, and I think I should be able to find something in the next month when that comes up. But boy, what a pain in the neck! I'm coming into busy season. I'm going to be working every day and
your
every
season
night.
Starts Friday.
Yeah, Friday my season starts. I'm going Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I get festivals and tournaments, and now I got to sit and find a new streaming service because you want to, more than double my rates. I mean, come on. That's ridiculous. So that's what we've been doing now. So if you are using StreamYard, if you're on a paid service, beware. It's going up dramatically anytime now. So keep an eye on that. So that's one of the things going on in the community. Trying to think what else is going on here. We're not going to really get into what we're playing here. Oh, because in 238, what we want to talk about is I dropped a video on YouTube, and I put it on the Facebook group too. And the question was, if you hit the lottery, and I think of that as when Mike and I drove to Canton, we stopped to get gas, and he picked up a quick pick or a couple quick picks, and I'm thinking, what if he hit? What if any of us were driving out to one of these things we hit? And it's like, and I didn't specify the amount of money, but I just said, if you hit some kind of money, how would this affect your gaming? And that's the question we pose to people. Okay. And again, keep it in mind that you'll take care of your family and the whole bit. We get all that stuff there. But when are you done taking care of all that and you got money left over, what would you do? How would your gaming change? And I left the amount of money that you won open-ended. So if someone said, well, if I won a little bit, I'll do this. But if I won the $500 million jackpot, then I would do this. I just wanted to hear what people say. It's always fun to, sit there and, have a beer with a buddy and talk about if you won the lottery, what you would do, And it's really kind of fun doing that stuff there. And so I thought, let's throw that out there at the end of the summer and see how it would affect people's gaming as it solely pertains to their gaming. I thought it'd be kind of fun as an exercise. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to read your feedback. Have you ever done that, Jack? You ever sat down with someone and just shooting the breeze and it's like, hey, if you ever hit the lottery, I think I sat down one time, and now without getting ridiculous, without like buying islands and jet planes, I'm like, man, if I bought everything I wanted, after a couple $1,000,000, I mean that, I don't know what else.
My wife and I have talked about that a few times.
Seriously, sure. Add up everything you'd like. I mean, within reason. I'm not talking like I'm going to get 10 Lamborghinis and stuff like that, but get a couple of nice cars, get yourself a house, set yourself up with, whatever, people to clean the house or whatever. But at some point you're like, man, I've pretty much exhausted my list, and I'm surprised how much little I actually spent on it.
Well, let me put you in touch with Floyd Merriweather and Conor McGregor and John Daly. They could probably set you up to how to lose up $100 million.
Oh, yeah. You can be stupid. In fact, I've been watching a lot of shows on YouTube about people that blew all their money. They hit millions and now they're broke. It's like, it's so sad.
I read that. Now, this was before we got into the big national lotteries. So this would have been when, a big jackpot in New York Lotto was 35, 40 million, which now, you're not playing a local lottery if it's that small.
Right.
That I had read that 80% of those who had won over 5 million in a lottery ended up filing for bankruptcy. You just don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, people make a lot of mistakes. They buy a lot of things. They go crazy with their money, and a lot of times too is people end up in tax problems. Is they hit all this money and they don't think about the tax implications.
Yeah, and the first thing you got to do is you have to find a financial consultant who will help you.
Sit down with somebody that knows what to do with this stuff and say, okay, how do I not lose this all? And turn around and owe the government $10 million. And I don't have that. So they say it's probably the worst thing that could happen because just. Of all the bad things that can happen. But anyway,
absolutely.
So in our situation, we want to know how it would affect your gaming. If you hit that Powerball ticket on the way to one of our events in our hypothetical situation. Just kind of a fun little discussion. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I did post a video this morning, Jucket, last night.
You've had some extra company.
Woo! The Coyotes, they're back. We haven't had the Coyotes living in this area in quite some time. I hear them once in a while. But it's been every night.
Did they move over from Arizona already?
I don't know. They're big over here. The ones in
I know you are.
Arizona,
that was a joke.
In the Southwest, they're small. They're about a little bit bigger than my dog CJ there, who has the cancer. The ones here, they're the size of a husky or a German shepherd. They're good size, and that's why it concerns me because they're not the size of a fox. They're big. And they've been howling the last several nights. And last night, I had the window open because it's been nice out, and I thought I heard them. And there was a dog barking in the neighborhood, and the coyotes were responding with barks. So I get up with my phone.
This is about what time?
Last night was about 1 o'clock.
Okay.
I hear them usually at 1, and the earliest in the morning I've heard them is 4 or 4:30.
What was it, last Thursday night? You and I were just kind of shooting
We were
the breeze
talking
like
here
this.
like this, and it was
about this time of night, about 7:30ish
it was
or so.
quarter of 8, and I go, hang on. And you're like, what happened? And I just took off, and they were howling out back at quarter of 8 at night. And that's time that we'll be out. We'll be walking. We might have the dog in the yard, and there's got to be 3 or 4 of them out there right outside the fence.
Right.
So I did film it. I was all black, but I did get the sound, and I put it on YouTube. So what I might do is in post, I might put some of those audio clips in here after the fact, so you can hear what woke me up last night at 1:00 in the morning. And they were yipping and yapping, and they were going back and forth with the dog of the neighborhood, like having a barking contest. And finally, they just out howled them. And so I think they brought the dog in. I hope, because I didn't hear the dog barking anymore.
Yeah,
but it was
I'm sure,
dogs on the left, coyotes on the right, and they're going back and forth. And finally,
here you are stuck in the middle with
pretty much. Yeah, no, that was pretty weird. It was and we've heard them before, and I've seen them run across the street before, and they go in my yard, the front yard that is, and I hate that, especially when I'm coming home at night from work. It's like 11:30.
Isn't that early though? I mean, it's only late. It's only mid-September.
Yeah, usually they don't come around until February and March. That's the mating season, but they're all over town. They're all over, here in Massachusetts, and they move around. Usually you see a single. Yeah, but, a few years ago we had 3 big ones, and now we got three of them again. And I haven't seen them physically, but I hear them every night. So I got a wildlife cam that I have somewhere. I need to put that back up and see if I can.
Yeah, the infrared.
Yeah, that'll pick them up. And that was fun watching. I did that one year, and I got all kinds of things. I get raccoons and coyotes and rabbits and all that kind of crazy stuff. We get deer out here once in a while.
Mom, a couple of weeks ago, or maybe about 3 or 4 weeks ago, she doesn't have a wildlife cam, but she has a phone, and she lives in the middle of nowhere, and so she's traveling someplace. She might have still been on a property and was just aiming it down the road, and she gets a picture of a baby fawn crossing the road, spindly little thing, and you wait 5 seconds, and fawn number 2 sprints across the dirt road.
Oh,
okay. 5 to 10 seconds later, fawn number 3 sprints across the road. Then she waits a little bit to see if the mother crosses the road too. But it honestly looked like, and she didn't do it. It looked like that she had taken that 10 seconds of video and looped it 3 times, because those fawns look identical, to each other. So
that's great.
Yep.
That's great. So anyway, we just briefly what we're playing. Hang on 1 second.
Yep.
All right, we'll play the stinger music there. Well, let me see. Without getting too deep into it, I think we've both been playing some solitaire pro football.
We both have done videos on solitaire pro football. I have a number of seasons that I have, and I've been playing. I've really been enjoying it. Did a couple just for giggles games. I did the Mike and the only one I'll talk about in detail is the Mike and the Truck Bowl.
Okay.
Because Mike is the creator of Family Football Plus. That is all based on the SRS ratings you can find on Pro Football Reference. He goes back I think he's trying to go back all the way to the 20s. And those 20 teams based on SRS would beat modern teams. It's quite funny. I can't wait for the hate mail to come to that. So 81 I have, and I did Cincinnati, who was the SRS leader in the AFC, against Philadelphia, who was the SRS leader in the NFC. Philadelphia won, and it wasn't even close. I mean, and just such a fun game. It really is.
I broke that out in Canton. I was showing Mike in the lobby on Sunday night, and I was like, man, I'm enjoying this a lot now. And I enjoyed it in the past, but I didn't play it for a couple of years, and I pulled it out and was like, it was one of the last games I threw in the bag for Canton, and I pulled it out at the end. I was like, this really is a great game. And I started playing it here at the house, and it's just flowing more. Maybe since playing, second season in Apple, when I pulled this out, it just all kind of made sense. And it's been, man, I've been enjoying the heck out of it. I've been playing all kinds of games. I'm using that with the Al Wilson 3D printed football scoreboard.
Yes, those
are
nice.
My gosh, yeah. You combine those two there, and I think I ended up playing a full game in like an hour and 40 minutes, which is extremely fast for a full play game.
Yes.
No, I wasn't using the helper, and I wasn't keeping stats. I just was following the drive, and when the drive ended, I wrote down what happened on the drive. They punt, they get a field goal, whatever it was. And I just was flipping the cards and going through it, and I flew through that game. It's like, man, this is definitely the fastest of the 4 or 5 full play games I play. And it's inexpensive. He's making more seasons still. Mike is, and it's just been so much fun playing that game. It really is. It's like, wow, I like this
we
game.
did the cold snap a couple of weeks ago, and it really was the first time I had played with and along with season ticket, roll to see what the plays are. I've always liked to call my own plays.
Yep.
And this has a very good and dynamic, by the way, play calling chart. You compare ratings, and then you pick out the cards from there. And to me, that makes all the difference in the world, because it really does kind of give you the feel of you're watching the game. And you can always overwrite it. I mean, if it's 3rd and 26 and it tells you to run, really? Do we want to run here? I don't think so. So you can always overrule it, but there was, I forget what might have been that Philly-Cincy game with Philly passing a fair amount over the course of the game, but passes not being complete. And you're looking at the stats at the end of it going, there wasn't a receiver there that had more than 3 catches. Which, when you look at other games, it's like, oh, they can only have the 3 catches. Yeah. It's like, oh, it worked.
This does a good job with the locator die, giving some different people runs and catches. I mean, it's only run, short pass, long pass, and you're looking at that like, oh, man. But it works. It
absolutely does.
However, it just feels like a football game. And again, is a run. Is it a sweep? Is it up the middles? Whatever. It just works, because sometimes you bust one open for 30 or 40 yards, and you're like, well, that must have been an outside run, or he went up the middle and there was nobody there. It just, like, everything that happens in that game, you can build a scenario around. It's just it's so fun.
It is extremely compatible with the oldest game engine there is. The game engine between your years.
Yeah. I had this one play. I was playing the Buffalo and the Raiders. It was the game that Buffalo won 51-3 in the playoffs.
Oh, the 90 AFC Championship.
1990, yep. And so that's the game I played, and the Raiders went up 14-0. I'm like, well, whatever. Buffalo came back 38 points in a row. So it got pretty close to a blowout, as it was in real life. And I had the ball on the 1-yard line, and it was a run to Andre Reed. And I'm like, why would you go to Andre Reed on a run? So I said, well, I'll go with it. Maybe they're going to fake it up the middle and go end around to the receiver. And his run rating was terrible. The defense, I think, had a -1 to back him up even further. And when I flipped the card, it was his average +6, and he went in for the score on the end around. And that's how I built my story. And it's like, that was so cool. It really was.
It just does it.
Yep. So we both been playing some Solitaire Pro Football.
I got a real quick food story.
Okay. Yeah.
If I asked you what the first flavor of Doritos was, what would you say?
Boy, Doritos was probably just the cheese, right? I would guess.
That's what I thought, and we'd both be wrong with that. When it was introduced as a product back in the 60s, a regional product, they had something called a taco flavor.
Okay. So
go to my grocery delivery, it's stuck in my head. I went to look at it at one point on Amazon. I'm curious to see what this is. I wasn't paying $10 a bag, curious to see what that was. And so I had some time on my hands last week, and so I went to my grocery shopping service and put in taco flavored Doritos, and you got the old El Paso shells and all that. And lo and behold, taco flavored Doritos popped up at a store in my area. So I set up an order, and that ordeal was a whole ordeal unto itself. I'm not going to get into that, but I got a bag it's in a retro bag. It's in those 80s bags where the Doritos are written out in different colors in every letter. You remember those. They're not selling it as a new product, but it has made its way to Vermont. So this morning or at lunch, deviled ham sandwich and some taco flavored Doritos. And you know what? It tasted like you had taken the old El Paso taco seasonings and put it on a bunch of chips.
I just remember back in the day,
it was good.
There was just Doritos. There really wasn't a flavor. It was Doritos.
No, all we have before Cool Ranch came out, it was just Doritos.
Yeah,
and they marked some nacho cheese.
I think the red is nacho cheese and the blue is the Cool Ranch, and they probably have a couple other flavors. But back in the day, it was just the one bag. It just said Doritos, and I don't even think it had a flavor. It tasted like Doritos, and that's what it was.
So you should look for it in the store. And not something I'd eat over and over and over again, but
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, PJ's going to be glad you brought food into the
isn't
conversation.
it? Because I don't think we can bring food into the topic at hand. So,
One more thing.
and Becky says you're welcome.
I had a package arrive this morning out of the blue, and it was. Oh, I've been doing a lot of unboxing of Al Wilson's 3D6 gaming products. I got the baseball. I got the
absolutely gorgeous.
I got the American football. I got the Canadian football, and I got the baseball now. So I need to do some. I'm in a football mood, but I need to bust it out, and I really do need to do something with that baseball field and play that out because that could be kind of fun. But I got another package in the mail today. It was from Play, and remember that game I played at the Canton event, the Football Hall of Fame? Remember that game I played with Keith, Football Fury?
Yeah, so one I didn't see you play, but yes.
We didn't do it on camera. We talked about it on camera, but off camera we played a game, and I really liked it, and he sent it to me.
Awesome.
He sent me Football Fury, so I can't wait to play it. It's got a solo mode, and that's real important, and that's one thing St. Patrick talks about a lot is the solo mode in games because, we're all solo players for the most part. We still hook up with friends and we play over Zoom or whatever, but, we mostly play alone, so you got to have that. So this game has that, so I can't wait to take it for a spin and play it. It's a football game, but it's a they call it an alternate sport. It's very different. Then it plays similar to football, scores similar, but it's got some twists to it that's kind of fun.
But it's not. You enjoy Grid Zone too, by the way.
Yeah, I haven't played that one yet.
Gary Brown, that was one of his first games, was Grid Zone.
I usually don't like the weird stuff. I like my standard 4 major sports typically. But when I played this, I was like, man, I could see myself having some fun with this because it's a quicker game. It's a 15, 20-minute game. 4 possessions each, and you're done,
Yep.
And you can play head-to-head or you can play solo. So I could see myself, setting this up and having a fun time.
I think you'll enjoy it a great deal.
Yeah, I think I will too. And I guess there's a couple other seasons there, so I'll have to check that out and, maybe pick up. I got the 4 teams that come with it now, but I guess I think they had was it the World Football League, or was that for the second season they had?
No, the World Football League they did for the tournament while you were in Canton. Yeah, because it was the 50th anniversary.
They had some new teams for that there. No, it's called, maybe it was the expansion. It was, but they had some new stuff there. It was kind of neat. So, but anyway, so I got Football Fury is in the house, and we'll get that on the channel at some point there. So anyway, all right. So should we get into the topic of the day? What do you think?
Absolutely.
All right. All righty. So the question that I threw out there basically was, if you, again, my hypothetical scenario, if you were on the way to a convention and you stopped off and you got a lottery ticket and you hit, and I'll let you decide how much money you hit on this fictional exercise that we do, how would this affect your gaming? And I just want to focus on the gaming part of it. I really don't want to, hear about how you can, buy grandma a new house. I just want to.
I don't know, a scholarship for Stratomatic players to go to What's the Matter You? Now that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Now,
So what would this do to your gaming? And I mean, it would change here. So and Ron and I have a few things we would add to here at the end, but let's go right down the list. So all
right,
this guy named Dave Little, right? Was not sure.
Doesn't he live near Ohio? I think he lives in Wisconsin, right?
I thought he was in Ohio, but it could be Wisconsin or Louisiana. I'm really not sure where he lives. But anyway, maybe if he hit that Powerball ticket, we'd find out where he lived. You know what I mean? He'd have several houses. He probably has several houses now. He'll have several more. Anyway, I would create for myself a killer game room setup, including a streaming setup with cameras and mics and a dedicated computer to control it all. So Dave, as you know, does some streaming on his channel there. So he would set this up and he would get the gaming setup going and have a really good streaming setup.
Gus says on Discord, it would be streaming the games that I play. I'd amp up my equipment and software to make it look more professional. Don't need to do the lottery to do that. I'd also consider investing in a tabletop gaming company.
Really?
Yeah.
JC Sports Replay says, I'd set myself up with a nice place to play and indulge in whatever project I felt like. Instead, assuming we're talking retirement, I'd probably be adding an hour or two to my play and keeping my gaming as my downtime hobby.
All right. Wolfie says he, would create a gaming space or spaces, build out a studio, or he could record videos. So winning the lottery would indeed positively impact his gaming experience.
Very nice. Sabrina Larson on YouTube says, I would clear out the shelves of the Apple warehouse for baseball and football games. And donate games across the country to Boys and Girls Clubs, church youth groups. Yep. Boy Scouts, Girl Scout troops, and both pediatric and adult hospital wards.
Nice.
Yes, that is very cool. Very cool.
David C. says if he won the lottery, he would spend money creating a better storage and accessibility system to his gaming collection. May I send you to Pittsburgh to see someone by the name of Gillies Seaboat? After you do that, maybe you could help organize his collections as well. I'm going to get a nasty gram from Tebow after all this. Improve his gaming space so that it would allow him to leave projects set up until they're completed. He would no longer purchase PDFs unless that was the only way to get the game. Create and update an actual website that would host his projects. As for streaming, I don't think he doesn't think he'd get into that. He enjoys sharing what he does when it makes sense and watching all the great channels available now.
Nice. Adam says on YouTube, I'd employ a butler to roll the dice for me. now that's a little over the top. One to feed me grapes and one to roll the dice. Are they going to move the cards around for you too?
If Snoop Dogg can pay someone $50,000 a year to roll his stuff, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, then a butler to roll your dice doesn't seem that far-fetched.
Yeah, so he says winning that money would mean my days of manual labor are over. So he wouldn't even roll his own dice.
Okay. Some of the best part of that. Swedish Jeff says he would retire from his current job and dedicate himself full-time to streaming and starting his own business. He would probably start a podcast and discuss the games. Don't sell him any lottery tickets, okay? That he's playing currently and future ones since you'd have more time. And I would try to get to try out other C&D and PC games.
Nice. ID Jester chimes in on YouTube. If you get a lot of money, the main goal would be to do what would make you happy. In my case, I would actually have a show where I would have all of my viewers post comments asking for their most favorite sports program that they don't currently have. And I would buy that for them as a way to give back to the community.
Very nice.
That would make me the happiest, and therefore that would be the best thing he would do with his money.
Very sweet.
That's really cool ID.
Last on Discord, Glenn says, now my screen just changed. Here we go. If I won the lottery, I would buy Dave and Ron the most state-of-the-art high-tech computer, studio, and broadcast equipment money can buy. Get them everything they need to keep producing their podcasts and videos. I'd also pay their hosting fees and all the other fees every year, so they don't have to worry about that. Whatever they want to purchase a new game or a season, I'll pick up the tab for those as well. All they have to do is keep on entertaining us. It would be a small price to pay for how much enjoyment they brought to myself and all of us in the hobby. I hadn't actually read that before.
Wow,
so,
that's awesome.
Thanks, Glenn.
Yes, thank you so much. That's very nice of you to say. Let's see. Hextall fan says, I've dreamt of this scenario for years. If it was a little money under $5K, I would buy a few more seasons of my favorite game, shootout hockey. If the jackpot was huge and life-changing, I would surely buy some hockey games that are on my wish list, as I would have lots of free time to learn my new games.
Nice.
Yep.
Daniel from Australia, as I moved to to Facebook, and I keep watching this video on a loop of someone in a Godzilla shirt. Don't know who that is. Being from Australia, Daniel says I would be able to afford to purchase card sets in baseball rather than the PDFs. I would buy the complete catalogs of APA, Strat, etc., and play multiple engines of my favorite seasons.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. Thomas on YouTube. I would purchase more APA products. Would love to spend more time on the lake fishing and also giving back to my community, but mostly I'd be in as many APA tournaments as I could, help other
Nice.
gamers with card sets, etc. And it could be interested on business with APA, helping sell the cards. So, very good.
Arnold says, I would purchase all the seasons I can't afford now, mainly APA and Strat.
Say that one more time.
He would purchase all the seasons he can't afford now, mainly APA and Strat.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yep. That's a good one, too. Here's a unique one here. This of all the ones I saw, and I haven't read all of them yet, but I've read quite a few. Here's one of the most unique ones I've heard. This is Dog Sniffing on YouTube. That's his name, Dog Sniffing.
Okay.
Buying a derelict old baseball stadium or field with history.
I think I saw this one, yeah.
Sitting, lingering, and simply turning it into a gaming headquarters for dice sports games. Would also allow teams to play baseball on the field for free. Would just be a hub for old dudes to hang out and play dice baseball. Would hire some stats people for kicks to document everyone's history and games for free, so all lifelong players' work can be shared, saved, and archived.
That's
Isn't
awesome.
that interesting? An old
That
baseball
is
stadium, so you
awesome.
could play your games there. You could even, probably Little League, play some games out there, whatever it is. I thought that was very unique.
That is great.
That was kind of cool, I thought.
Phil says, obviously, if I hit it big, I complete my wish list of strat hockey and baseball. Maybe pay more attention to other sports. Try other game engines, more like stuff from APA and Play. I'd open up a social club like you see in those mafia movies. But for the tabletop community locally where I live. He's from New York City, by the way. Lastly, I would travel to different parts of the country teaching kids about the fun of our hobby, like a traveling after-school program /center. That's a good one.
Yeah, I like that. A little speakeasy. Is that the one where you open a little sliding window? Shh, hello. Yeah, I'm here to play games. Okay, shh, and you close it back up and open the door.
What's the password?
Yeah, dice. There you go.
That's right. Dice.
I like that one there.
Six-siders.
Michael says on YouTube, I would purchase more cards and games that are professionally finished as opposed to PDF and printing it himself.
Okay. Jeff says, I would buy games that I was waiting to buy and any game adjacent items like scoreboards, etc. that I wanted. I just got a new shelving unit to hold all of my games, so I would just add to my collection whatever else I'd been wanting.
Okay. Some guy named P-Jet chimes in, and he says, I wouldn't be looking to buy more games than I could possibly have the time to play. I've narrowed down the hockey, baseball, and racing games I enjoy playing. I have enough seasons to keep me busy. Mm-hmm. However, I'd probably buy the Apple hockey seasons I don't have from the Seals and the Barons years. Surprise, surprise.
That makes a lot of sense.
For him, yeah. A few seasons for Payoff Pitch and History Maker Baseball, and a few seasons for Red, White, and Blue Racing. Probably get a couple of game mats and some camera equipment to make better quality videos.
Joe Cards says if it were a significant amount of money that could afford me to retire, then it would allow me more time to roll them bones and travel around the world as well. And some of the others here. Definitely take some of that money, purchase a bunch of different games, and donate them to kids, as well as those that desire to play cards and dice games but cannot afford to spend the money on gaming. I'm delighted to hear 3 or 4 people have said that.
One on YouTube from AC Wraith. Now, AC Wraith, he come over from the Game Hounds podcast. He does a lot with the Game Hounds video game podcast that he's doing. So he's kind of tongue-in-cheek on this one. But he goes, I'd make more games. More importantly, I'd give a huge chunk to volunteer game podcast helpers, which is basically himself, even though I'm not the current host of any show. So he's just he does a lot of work with the Game Hounds. He says, I'd give the volunteers some money. So he's the volunteer. I thought it was kind of funny.
So after Andy doesn't tell his kids and retires, and his wife doesn't tell the kids, he'd buy some games and travel to different gaming get-togethers. So first one is really kind of a mention, it would hit more of the gaming con circuit.
Yeah, someone else said that too over here on YouTube, that they wanted to travel around a little bit more.
I don't know how many you have left. I have 4.
I have 4. Okay.
All right. Go ahead.
And let's see, some roads lead there. It says, I think for me, money isn't the thing that interrupts my gaming. It's time. So I guess winning the lottery would maybe mean less hours working, and thus he'd have more hours to game.
Okay, Brent says, if I hit massive, I would hire a large group of fun people to play in a full-blown league. Hire staff to run it like a real pro sports league. Don't hire Jerry Jones, okay? We would have drafts, daily YouTube games. Apparently, I'd be hired to call them. And the works. That's kind of cool. Get together and, treat it like an esport, essentially.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Hey, Appa says, that's easy. I would pay Richard Hanna to develop a PC version of Classic F1.
Oh, absolutely. Richard doesn't return my phone calls anymore, and I think you and I have a quiet restraining order from him. We're not on the topic.
Yeah, I know. We joke about that, but the game come out fantastic. That Stone Cold Hockey come out great on the PC.
It did.
So.
Actually, I got the update for Legends of Boxing.
Oh, nice.
I haven't tried it yet, but I have it, and so it looks fantastic. Kevin says, I would buy all the seasons that I currently want from all my current games and try some other games I'm interested in now but haven't tried yet. I'd also never purchase a PDF again if print is an option, as I strongly prefer printed games. He's not the only one that's mentioned that. Or more likely, I would purchase both PDF and printed components so I could play the PDFs while I waited for the printed versions to arrive. There you go. You don't have to be patient anymore. I would also purchase the PC versions of all my games that offered it to go along with the PDFs and printed components. You don't have to be patient anymore. What was it from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? Was it the girl that got sucked up the hose? Don't care how, I want it now.
Let's see. Actually, I only have the one more here, and it's from Rob Scott. He says, if I won the big one, I'd buy StreamYard, fire their entire executive board, and slash their monthly rate back to normal. Good. I hope you do win.
We'll send you our $5. All right. So I'll read these next two together.
Okay.
Ben says, I would order all those games on my want list that aren't available in PDF. Now, Ben, I'm not sure if he's in this country or in the UK, but we're on the British gaming boards on Facebook and Delphi. So I know where he's going with this. Okay. He'd buy all the games that he on his want list that aren't available in PDF, pour myself a drink, and laugh in the face of the ludicrous postage and customs charges. He'd also go off to play next year.
Nice.
As in the convention. And Sean says, if I came into some real money, I honestly would have next to no time for gaming, as I would be involved in standard bred racing 24/7, traveling around North America. It's been his lifelong dream. He'd open up a hobby store in his area to promote sports sim gaming, and I would have a team of people help me work on the game with me offloading most of the work on them.
Very nice.
So if you were in there to get your bottle of pop in your bag of taco-flavored Doritos and use the bathroom because we're both old men and you need to do that as the car is being filled up, what would you do with it? The money, not the Doritos and the pop.
I would say a couple of things as it pertains to gaming. Obviously, get some better equipment. Now, I'd probably, depending what the amount was, get a bigger house so I could have a dedicated gaming room, maybe a dedicated streaming room, so I could set up and leave it set up and have a nice setup with all that. So a couple people had mentioned that they want some better streaming equipment, in a gaming space. So that would be on the list. I would probably do something like contact the developers of some of my favorite games and send them some money to develop the rest of the seasons or seasons that they don't have that I would like. So, and I won't mention the whatever, but, there's some games I play that I absolutely love, but they don't have every season. So I would say, hey, let me send you some money, and develop these seasons for me. And obviously for everybody too. But I mean, I'd like to have seasons for some of my favorite games. So I would do something like that, so I can get more, favorite seasons for my favorite games if I don't have them already. And I like the idea of either contacting Richard Hanna or somebody like that, pay somebody to develop some kind of a hockey game that allows you to put in the stats and keep track of it all, and also allows you to simulate the game. So I'm thinking like replay hockey. You know, they have replay baseball, replay basketball, a replay hockey, a version of replay hockey where you could play in the computer game like you can with the other two games, or just simulate them, or even add the stats in. That's what I would do. Like, you know, how you do baseball, you can put in the singles and the strikeouts and a whole bit. Do that for hockey. So I could play my favorite hockey game, but I wouldn't have to play every game. And I could keep my stats in a whole bit. Yeah, so I would definitely be finding somebody to do a computer hockey program to keep those stats like you see for baseball and football and basketball.
If I had a small amount, let's say under $100,000, I would complete my Strat library. I would buy every season for every game
on the PC.
On the PC, okay. And just have them. I have everything I pretty much would ever play in action PC. I think I'd go around and see what other games I needed to fill out libraries for.
Let's run through that real quick. Okay, so there's So you would be playing what? Baseball, hockey, basketball,
football,
and football. So the four major sports.
Whatever I don't already have, I would buy.
So let's just say 40. Is it 40 seasons? Maybe 30 seasons of each.
Oh my goodness! Oh, for each
that you would need to fill out 30.
Oh no, I 25? Bet it's close to 80 for baseball.
Okay.
I mean, they're expensive enough. They're $30
well,
a pop.
Let's just do this exercise real quick here. So, how many baseball seasons do you think you need to complete? 80.
Probably 80 for baseball.
Okay.
70, 75 for football.
Okay.
25, 30 for basketball.
Okay.
And probably 40, 50 for hockey.
Okay, so I rounded up. So it's about 235 seasons.
Yeah.
And, you know, you probably catch a sale, maybe not. Okay, what do they go for normally?
30.
So what did I say? 235 times 30. 7,000. So it'd be 7,000. Yeah. So yeah, not terrible.
I mean, again, you know, we're not talking millions of dollars, but you know, and what I looked through to see what other games that I played that I don't have seasons for. I was filling my libraries. Again, that's with a let's say $50,000 scratch off or something like that, along with some other things. I asked my Madam Speaker before we started what Powerball was tonight, and that's what she's saying, 165 million,
something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So you get essentially half of that, so 80 million, and Uncle Sam and Auntie Vermont gets 40 million of that. So you're left with $40 million. I would buy Strat, or I would see what they would reasonable for that and develop that, because I want to see that continue and guarantee some losses if that was the case, and because. Not necessarily that any other company is bad and I wouldn't do it. I mean, if a couple people said, if Hurston said, get some people who love APA to do that, I wouldn't buy them both, But if Hurston says, if you can get if you want to financially back the people who love APA, I'd buy APA, not a question. I mean, we want to see these games succeed. But for me, for Strat, I mean, it's 2024. I first played it in 1990. I'm not saying the game is perfect. I also really wouldn't fix much of it. But it has given me enough to want to stay and continue. It was buying the Strat baseball CDs around the turn of the century after I'd gotten married that got me back into this and what we've done over the last 25 years. So it'd be much more of a, how can I thank you? How can I pay you back for all the entertainment and memories that I've gotten from this? I think it would be the thing to do would be to take one of those companies. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be Strat. Made sure it was in a financially sound footing to last for as long as people want to play it, and get the game back into the store so people can find it. Because I think that's the biggest thing, whether it's Play or Strat or APA or Replay, is you got to, it takes a substantial investment to put a board game into a store these days.
Yeah. I like the idea that some people said too, and depending how much if I hit enough that I wouldn't have to work, and I like the idea of going around and renting a place or a Cub Scout or a Little League, whatever, and showing them the games because they've never seen these games.
Oh, absolutely.
And maybe some of their fathers or uncles or grandfather played them, but I think if you could just get the kids to sit down and say, let's play some games here, rent out a hall, and just invite people over, have it catered, and just show kids the games. Say, look, you can get off your phones. You can play something that's not on the phone. And especially, like the math kids are like numbers and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
I geeked out with the Dungeons and Dragons as a kid, but man, if I stumbled on baseball and football and hockey when I was a kid, oh my God, I never knew this stuff existed as a kid. So if someone showed it to me and showed me how to play and showed me how easy it was, introduce the younger kids or people younger than us to the hobby. Have nights where you just show that off, go to different game places or, places where sports are and just, maybe there's a hockey banquet you could go to and say, look, let me show you this great new hockey game. Or maybe the dad would want to play, But yeah, some way to kind of promote the hobby. I like some of those ideas that people had, and I think I would do something like that. I mean,
the old ballpark, converting the ballpark into a year-round facility where you play all winter and have real games all summer.
I mean, we're kind of doing that now virtually here on our channels, is showing off games and how we play them and showing off new games and talking to developers. But it would be fun to go, just like tour the country, and I don't know exactly all the details, obviously, of this, but it'd be fun to go, and go here and at this youth club or whatever and set it up and just say, hey, we're going to show you how to play these games. And, maybe I buy 100 copies of the games. And if somebody wants one, I give it to them and some seasons and we sit down and we play some baseball or some hockey or whatever it is. That would be really kind of fun, I think, too, is to go and show that stuff off. So, so some really good ideas. Really good ideas here as far as what people would do with their stuff as far as gaming goes. And I think the overwhelming theme of it was, well, if I didn't have to work, then it gives me more time to game just by default. So I think that's how that went. So so thank everybody. Thank you to everybody who chimed in with that. As it's a fun little thing to do to see what people would do as far as gaming goes. And so it's always fun to hear what the community would say. I love the community shows that we do here. I really do. Anyway,
they're fun.
So, should we get to our 3 stars of the week?
Yes.
All righty. So, star number 3 here, in no particular order, in episode 238, and that is the Pesky Poll.
Woohoo!
Thank you so much for supporting the show on Patreon. Number 2, we have Noble. Noble, thank you.
Woohoo!
We've actually been going back and forth on text the last few weeks over some things. It's been kind of fun talking to him on that. And number 1 star of the week, well, as if you've followed along, I've had more computer problems on my work computer where the internet just dies. It goes from 800 down to 8, less than 10. And we can't figure out why. And this is the second time in a few months that Ed reached out to me and said, hey, I can try to help you. We went back and forth on Facebook and the whole bit for several hours trying to find out what is going on. Is it a driver issue? Is it a physical issue? And both times we managed to fix it. This other time was a long time. We were both ready to give up, and on one last boot, my speed came back. So, Ed, thank you so much for helping me out. So there's a big shout out to Ed. Number 1 star this week here. It helped me get my work computer going. And we just bought some more time. I know I'm going to have to get a new computer eventually because it's just, I can't keep having that. It is 6 years old, and it is struggling a little bit when I use, Affinity Publisher and things like that and some of the photo programs. But I can hopefully squeeze out a little bit more life out of it here. But, boy, it's just so weird. It was the weirdest problem to have. We think it was a corrupt driver file. But now why you would get any internet at all compared to creeping dial-up speed on this thing, it's messed up. It really is. And now I'm back to, anywhere between 400 and 800, which is, plenty for what I need on a work computer. But, sometimes I like to listen to YouTube and listen to you guys do stuff while I do my work and Couldn't do that with the 8 download speed. The upload was still 22. It wasn't terrible, but boy, it's just messed up how that was. Still can't figure out what the problem was. So I'm gonna, like I say, at some point, new computer for the work, and I'm gonna have to bite the bullet with that. So anyway, so thank you so much. All righty, so we wrap it up here.
Sure.
All righty, so you've been listening to the Digital to Dice podcast, episode 238, right, Ron?
Yes.
And ways to get a hold of us, digitaltodice.com. Again, the website is having some problems over there. I'm not sure what's going on between GoDaddy and Wix. We're trying to forward Digital to Dice over to the Wix account, but it's just not working right now. So hopefully we'll get that resolved. But when it's back up, that's where you'll find a website. 978-751-DICE is the text line. 978-751-DICE is the text line. digitaltodice@yahoo.com is the email. And over on Facebook, where we post a lot of these questions, facebook.com/groups/digitaltodice. All right. Ron, what are you going to be playing tonight? Anything?
I'm going to continue the solitaire pro football game I started earlier today.
Yeah, which one's that?
Seattle, Cincinnati from 1981.
You're liking that season, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I turned 10 that year. And so that really was kind of the high point of my watching football.
Yeah.
Being a little kid, excited about Sundays.
Yeah. Like 75 to 85 was my sweet spot there, too. So I need to put APA back on the table. I've been falling in love with the second season in the Solitaire Pro, but I need to get APA back on the table and make sure that I still love that game.
I'm sure you will.
And now I get the Fury football. So what do? I gotta cut out the cards is what I gotta do tonight. Cut out the Fury football cards and practice that a little bit so I can stream that a little bit. I don't want to stream it until I play a couple of games. So, but anyway, but again, thank you to Keith for setting that out so I can play that. So, all righty. So that'll wrap up this one here. And hopefully the Coyotes won't wake me up tonight.
Hopefully not.
All right, we'll see everybody later.
Look, chloroform will take care of that.
Oh yeah, no, I don't want to do that. But it is creepy knowing that they're right outside your fence.
Yeah,
and they're yipping and yapping, and it really is just disturbing to hear them do that, and knowing that they're right there, knowing that they only howl when they're having a meal, and you don't know what that meal is. So, but that's nature. That's how it goes. So
that's right.
We'll talk to everyone later.
Bye-bye.